Welcome back to another NHL team breakdown. And this time we talk about the New York Islanders and the Metropolitan Zone. And of course, the co-host Enortap is going to talk a little bit more about what is his favorite team after the Montreal Canadiens. Let's see the overview of the upcoming season of the 2024-2025 of the New York Islanders, where again, the general manager is Mr. Enortap?
Lou Lamoriello.
But if you look about the 3 seasons ago, they have only 84 points and they miss the playoff. They come back stronger at 93 points. And then last year, they got 94 points. Last 2 seasons, they make the playoff. They lost at the first round. It's the team right now are still in the middle of the pack, right between 14, 15 to 17, 18. They don't lose a lot of players. They lost the defenseman Howell and the defenseman Barzal. They still have 2 UFA, and they don't know they're going to sign them or not. Matt Martin, the veteran Clutterbuck, also is still have no contract with the New York Islanders. Not sure it will be. They bring now Anthony Duclair inside of this roster for the upcoming year. It's on the team is on top on the NHL draft. They don't have a lot of prospects. They trade them many times at the trade deadline, but last year they are lucky at the 20 after they make a trade from 18 to 20 with the Chicago Blackhawks to get Cole Erzerman. Erzerman, by the way, have a great World Junior showcase right now with the team, USA national team. It's going to be a part of the Boston University for an NCAA. Mr. Enortap, what do you think about their prospect, Cole Erzerman?
Well, if there's one thing that the New York Islanders needed was goal scoring, right? That's been the lament for the last, I'd say, about 5 years for this team. Like defensively, they're always solid. I know that when we look at goals against there from last year, and they're ranked at 18th, which is just under the midway mark of all the teams. I mean, there was a reason for that, and we'll get into it a little bit later. But defensively, they've always been solid, and there's no doubt about that. We've seen them go to a conference semifinal, followed by 2 conference finals, and they were knocking on the door, and then the wheels started to fall off a little bit. It seems to me that they're on track. I like their 2 picks, both in Yzerman, who fell all the way to that spot for them. That was quite fortuitous for them. And I also like Pulkkinen. This guy's a 6'6" defenseman, and by all accounts, he should be a dandy one, and will fit in nicely with the defensive core that they already have as they're slowly aging.
When you look about the Islanders, also the last couple of years, there always been a problem with the salary cap, with not a bad contract, but the players are stuck with. Example, Palmieri, one of them, or Pajot. Palmieri have a better year last season, but it was a struggle 2 years before with the New York Islanders, and they carried both of them over $5 million. The top 6 are pretty good, but they are ages. Only Barzal at 26, 80 points last year. And then Nelson is at 32, 69 points for Nelson. It's going to be UFA next year. This is another great player for them, for the New York Islanders. Bo Horvat have 68 points, 33 goals with the team Islanders. Palmieri, as just mentioned to you, 33 right now on his final year contract, become again another UFA. Have a better year, 30 goals. The captain, Lee, another 33 years old, Mr. Enortap, 37 points, and then Pajot, 31 years old. So you can see on the top 6, they have only Barzal at 26 and Horvat at 28. The rest is 4 top 6 over 30 years old. And this is a problem. I think it would be a little bit the next couple of years in front of them. And then the pipeline is not great about prospect, Wallstrom, Oldstrom. And then we have only Erzerman. So there's going to be a little bit difficulties for Lou to figure out this problem the next 2-3 years in front of him. But the defensemen, I love this. The defense, they really a team start for the back and all the way to the forward, because they have Romanov and Thompson. This is the best prospect they have. 70 points last year, 10 goals. This is a great quarterback on power play. Great slap shot for Thompson. Romanov have his best year, in my opinion, in NHL. 7 goals last year for him. Polak Pelech, injuries, Mr. Enortap. Only 58 games, both of them last season, and the lack of the productivity on the offensive side may be a problem for them. They have to cover up with other defensemen. But this was the biggest problem last year. Finally, of course, one a great duo goaltender, Zorokin and Varlamov. Hopefully, Zorokin is going to be the Zorokin we know the year prior to that. Many of them consider him to be a runner-up as a Vezina Trophy. But last year, Mr. Enortap, not looking good. 3.01, simple center, 9.08. And then Varlamov was pretty good between the pipe. He finished really strong the second half of the season. He carried on that team, I believe, on his shoulder. Like I mentioned to you, the prospect, Mr. Enortap, we talk about Wallstrom, Oldstrom, Bolduc, Pulkkinen. Now he got the second round pick of the NHL draft. What pay a little bit more your attention about that team, the pipeline, or the prospect?
Well, it's really unfortunate, Coach, that both Wallstrom and Holstrom, especially Wallstrom, they've I think they've kind of run the line with him. Things haven't worked out very well. I don't know if it's just one of those cases where he just needs a fresh start somewhere else. That's possibly something that they'll consider. In terms of the team overall, I guess we can start with the coaching, right? And really, Patrick Roy was surprising in-season replacement for Lane Lambert last year. At that time, the Islanders were not doing very well. As soon as Roy came in, he started to successfully guide the team. He started to give them a bit of an identity. He changed the style that they were playing, because one of the things I think they tried to do, and this is sort of explains why their goals against it fell all the way down to 18 from previous years, was the fact that they tried to get the defensemen to chip in a lot more and become a little bit more offensive minded and take chances. And that goes really against the grain of what the Islanders are all about. Like when you look at their defensive core and you look at Dobson and Romanov, you look at Pelech and Pulock. The other guy that we didn't talk about that was injured, that only played 40 games, was Scott Mayfield. They're lucky that they had Sebastian Aho that came in, as well as Riley, and kind of held fort for a while. But I think Patrick Roy changed that, and he started to get them to play more of a team defensive minded again, and for the forwards to start taking those opportunities offensively, right? They got defensemen that can carry the puck as well, so they're not overly worried about that. Now, Lou Lamoriello is starting to come in at towards the end of his career, and you can tell that some of the choices like he's made in terms of some of the longevity of some of these contracts is kind of what got them into this position where they're a bit strapped salary cap wise. And this year, it looks like, by all accounts, Coach, you were saying to me earlier, they're going to go with 22 players this year.
This is the first
Absolutely.
time I heard that one. They don't have enough money on the salary cap. They are right there at $88 million, right there on the bill. They are $88 million and $22 for the upcoming year. So it'll be really interesting what are you going to do with that problem.
You're right. And it's one of those things where you better hope that nobody gets injured, because that could have catastrophic effects on the team and take them out of any possibility of making the playoffs at all. But I think one of the good things, like I said, Lamoriello did was that he brought in Patrick Roy, and he was adamant at the season's end that both he and Roy would work together to try to build New York's roster from here on in. And that's the part that really has me a little bit more encouraged about the team and where they're at, is the fact that Patrick Roy has a good mind for hockey. Usually the team takes on the characteristics of their coach. This is the kind of coach that you want in that kind of position. He wants to create a certain climate. He wants the team to be gritty. He's not afraid to think outside the box and to take chances. And I think that that's the way he's going to style the team. But coming from a goaltender's position in Patrick Roy, he values the importance of having a solid defense in front of him. You got two goalies here that if one falters, the other one, like last year, Varlamov came in and the yeoman's work, Sorokin. So I expect Sorokin to bounce back this year. I just questioned their depth. It was good to bring in Duclair. I think that kind of fills the left side a little bit because they're very weak there. But once you get past Duclair and Anders Lee, who's also getting on in age, they don't really have too much on the left side. That's something they're going to have to solve. And I don't know how they're going to do it unless, maybe somebody like Pajot is on the way out, and that would clear up, I think, $5 million maybe. I forget how much he's making now, but that could create some opportunities. Like we said earlier, the draft wasn't bad for them, given that where they were. So at least they have some pieces in the fold, but they still got a long way to build this to where it's a team that will competitively compete on a year-to-year basis and not finish in that no man's land that we always talk about in the middle of the NHL. This is a team that is going to have to really focus, and I think if their defense stays healthy, you're going to see number 18th in goals against go up in a good way and finishing probably in the top. I would say top 8 in the league because they have that potential. They're great, solid defensemen.
Well, first late last year was not there, right? Goal again, goal, it was 18, and the PK, he was at the worst team in NHL on the PK. The New York Islanders been always a good team overall, but his team is again in the middle of the pack, and at some point you cannot stay there. You have to decide to go
No.
deep, or you have to rebuild or retool. And with all the bad contract they have under the wings, when I said bad contract, it's not a bad players, but they're getting now 32, 33, 34 years old. This is a team is going to be a new way to change the next 2, 3 years. For my projection, Mr. Enortap, I give them 95 points. Maybe like the Tampa Bay Lightning. The reason why Metropolitan Division is not the same they are before. I feel like the Rangers will be great, but not like last season. I feel like Carolina Hurricanes are not going to be the same kind of team. The only thing is going to be better for me is the New Jersey Devils. For me, the Islanders are right there on the fourth division to battle with the rest of the team like Pittsburgh, Washington, and I think after that, Columbus will try to jump in and the standing, but not good enough to make the playoffs. So Islanders are on the right position to make the playoff again as a wild card, like the Tampa Bay Lightning.
I suspect they'll either be the number 2 wild card team this upcoming year. The only thing I kind of question is because the other conference, the Atlantic, is so strong, and there's some teams that are ready to make a push. Are they ready to take that position? And I'm talking about the Detroit, the Ottawa, the Buffalo, those kind of teams.
At the end of the day, and after for me, if the Islanders make the playoff, remember the name. It's going to be because of Zorokin. That's for me, I see that. If Zorokin be the Zorokin we know, that would be the Islanders a better team at the end of the day. And of course, with 55 games, Varlamov can pick it up 30 games for them. This is a great duo, and that's the reason I believe the goaltender make the Islanders and the playoff for the upcoming season. So great overview again for another NHL breakdown. Today we talk about the New York Islanders. The position of them is to be in the playoff of the NHL 2025. Until the next time, my friend, we want to remind you, don't forget, please, to subscribe and click on the like and follow up the new series of the Hockey Nation. Every day we deliver an NHL team breakdown for the next 32 days. Until the next time, remember, you have greatness inside of you, and we wish you an amazing, great, blessed day. Amen.